Started. So welcome everyone. Happy New Year. Oh, Darlene says Happy New Year. Glad to be able to join. Oh, she starts her new job tomorrow. So yay, Darlene, congratulations. That's very exciting. So we are here. It's 2024. And of course, the New Year's brings in New Year's resolutions, right? So how many, and you could just raise your hand, of you have set goals in the past years and never achieved them? That's me. I have always setting goals. And there's a reason for it. The reason we're not reaching our goals is one is we tend to set goals, like a lot of them, right? I had a conversation with my mom. She had all these goals. And I said, well, that's overwhelming, right? You look at your goals, you look at this list. Oh, I want to get up earlier. I want to exercise. I want to eat better. Blah, blah, blah. And you're like, that's overwhelming. That's too much. And so right there, we've already sabotaged ourselves. Already we've set ourselves up for failure because we're taking on way too much. So my advice is just choose one. Yes, you can have these other goals, but if you choose the right goal, the other ones will fall into place. So for example, let's say you want to eat better, you want to exercise, you want to, journal, and you want to, lose weight. Okay. So if you start with just eating better, right? I'm going to incorporate more veggies. Once you start doing that goal, like I'm going to make a commitment to eat a vegetable every single day, then when you start doing that, you start to feel empowered. You're like, oh, okay, I'm doing this. Oh, I'm able to do this. Now that you feel a little better, now that you're eating a little better, now you're going to be like, well, now I feel empowered to then maybe start exercising more. Hey, Gretchen, thanks for joining us. And it kind of builds on itself. So my advice is just to pick one goal. Let's not overwhelm ourselves, because I know for me, I'm like, I am a doer. And so I'm like, oh yeah, I've got these goals. And I have to really go, okay, Leah, what is the most important goal what is the one goal that if I did it would really make a difference in my life? And that's a really important question for all of us to ask when we're starting our goals is, why do I want this goal? Okay, what will eating better do for me? Well, eating better will help me maybe have more energy. Eating better might help me feel better about myself. Eating better might encourage me to do other things. But at the end of the year, if I look at my goal at the beginning, okay, at the end of the year, what will my life look like if I have achieved my goal of eating better? And then I look ahead to December 31st and I say, okay, well, if I ate better, I probably have lost weight. I probably have more energy. My skin probably looks better. There's all these benefits of that. And you have to write those down. So the first thing I want you guys to do is go through your goals and pick one that you really, really want to achieve. Pick the one goal that's going to make a difference by December 31st. And that goal is going to be really personal to you, whatever that is. But you've got to go do a deep dive into why you want to achieve it. Because we can say something like, if I say, okay, I want to lose 5 pounds so I can fit into this amazing dress to attend this wedding. And that's a great goal. But chances are, and I know you all can relate to this, chances are it's like, oh yeah, I got to fit into this one dress, but that's my only why. So I'll still eat normal. And then it'll get closer and closer to the wedding and I'll keep putting it off. Oh yeah, well, I still have some time. I'll do this or that. And then the wedding comes, there's the dress. I can't fit in it. So then I just go buy another dress, right? We're setting ourselves up for failure immediately because that's not a good enough why. My why should be, I want more energy. I want to look better. I want to feel better. Like 5 pounds, I have a really small frame. So 5 pounds on me in my stomach, and I gain it all in my stomach. Unlike those avocado, seeds with the toothpicks, like those of you who are older probably remember that. So that's how I'm built, like skinny little arms, skinny little legs, and then all my weight's in my stomach and my boobs. So for me, 5 pounds is a lot, but my back will hurt. My joints will hurt with 5 pounds. And it sounds weird, but that's just how my body is. So for me, if I set the goal to lose weight, I need to go, okay, my why would be, I really want to feel better. I want to have more energy. I want my skin to be better. I don't want to try to hide my belly anymore. I don't want to wear Spanx. There's all these reasons why losing 5 pounds would be ideal for me. And then when I jump ahead to December 31st and I look and see, okay, so if I achieve this goal, what will my life look like? And I can look at it and go, oh, wow, I feel better. I'm probably exercising more because I felt encouraged when I started losing weight and, all these things. So I can list all the things that are making me feel better now that it's December 31st and I've achieved my goal. Or like, let's say like something, maybe you want to write. That's a big one for a lot of people. They want to write, they want to blog, they want to do these things. So you can look at yourself and say, okay, today I'm not writing, but by December 31st, I want to be writing and I want to have at least one published blog or article. So how are the ways that you can do this? And you can talk about, I could write every day for 10 minutes, or I could do this or that. There's different ways that you can get to that. And I would encourage you to set a bigger goal. Set a little bit of an audacious goal. So if your goal is to write and you think, okay, I want to write, then I encourage you say, I want to write 5 blog articles. That is my goal. And the reason we want to have kind of an audacious goal, one that's like for me, it was 5 pounds. That's kind of a bad example because 5 pounds to some people, that's not a lot. So like, let's use writing though. So you need to say, I need to write 5 blog articles. And the reason for a bigger goal as opposed to I'm going to write one is that if you say, oh, I'll write 1 blog, then it's kind of like, that's not really, your mind's already like, yes, I can do that. I'll just find some time. And you've kind of already sabotaged your goal. Whereas if you say, I'm going to write 5 or I'm going to write 10 or I'm going to write 20 blogs this year, like let's say 20 blogs, that's audacious. I'm going to write 20 blogs this year. Then now your brain has to start thinking because you're like, well, that's a really big goal. And I don't know how I'm going to find the time. I don't know how I'm going to find the energy. I don't know how I'm going to find the topics to be talking about my goals. So, to be sharing, to be committing to my goals. So what you want to do is make that commitment to a big goal. And then your mind will start to say, well, how are the different ways I'm going to be able to achieve this? And now you've opened yourself up. You've opened up the creativity within you that'll start spurning you to achieve your goal. And again, this is why we do one. We don't want to do a bunch of goals. We just want to choose one goal. And in that goal, we want to make it kind of audacious, right? And make it big. And then say, okay, what are all the different ways I can get to this goal? Now, the good news I have for you is that you can commit only 5 to 10 minutes a day and commit and achieve your goal by the end of 2024. And the way we do that is we do what's called tiny habits. And so there's a really great book by BJ Fogg called Tiny Habits. And he talks about how when you want to achieve something, anything, start very, very tiny. So for him, he wasn't flossing his teeth because his teeth were like really close together and it was a pain. But his dentist said, look, you've got to start flossing. And he said, I just didn't want to. So what he did was he just started with 1 tooth. In the morning, he would just floss 1 tooth. And then at night, 1 tooth. And so after a week or 2 of that, he went to 2 teeth. And then now, he flosses his teeth. But the same kind of map applies to all of you too. So like, we'll go back to the blogs. I'm going to write 20 blog stories this year. So if you just start in the morning or afternoon or whenever you feel most creative and grab a journal or a pad and just start writing for 5 minutes, just write. Don't worry about perfection. Don't worry about anything. You just start writing. That's going to spurn your creativity. And you probably will write for longer than 5 minutes, but you don't want to. Don't allow yourself to go past the 5 minutes because when we do tiny habits, we want to start tiny to start a habit. That is the most important thing. If you want to achieve a goal, you have to make it a habit in your everyday life. So eating better, I want to incorporate more vegetables. You have to start tiny. I'm going to eat 1 baby carrot every day this week. And then the next week you go, okay, I'm going to eat 2 baby carrots. And then the next week, and it sounds silly, and it's like, that's so small, but trust me, if you go bigger, you'll give up. So you've got to make it a habit, make it small, make it doable, make it something, well, of course I can eat a carrot every day. But once you start doing that, you can start building, but don't build until after about 3 weeks. then you can go, okay, I'm going to add some celery to it, or I'm going to add a whole salad. But you want to make sure that you're doing something every single day. And if it starts to be too much, like, oh, it's too much to make a salad, go back to, I'm just going to eat a couple carrots a day, but don't give up. And that's the biggest thing. So if you're going to write and you want to start this, start for just 5 minutes a day, write, close your book and say, okay, but the next day, be excited. Go, okay, I'm going to write again for 5 minutes. And you're going to start thinking about it. I only have 5 minutes. What am I going to write about? And then the next day, and the next day, and the next day. So do that for like 2 weeks, then maybe increase it to 10 minutes, but don't increase it to a half an hour until you have at least about 3 weeks under you. Because again, it has to be a habit. And again, if you start feeling burned out at 30 minutes, so, okay, no, I'm going to pull it back. So let's say, you're on to 30 minutes, you start writing and you're like, oh, I'm just so bored with this. Go, okay, shut it. Even if you've only been writing for 20, shut it and say, I'm going to address this tomorrow. And let's say tomorrow you start writing and you've been writing for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and you're like, oh, this is getting bored. Just shut it and don't worry about it. Just make sure you commit at least 5 minutes. Everyone has 5 minutes a day to commit to your goal, right? And trust me, by the end of the year, you're going to be shocked and amazed at how your goal has not only been achieved, but it's become a part of your life. So for me, back in 2019, for years and years and years, like I'm 60. So for years, probably I was, so 2019, when was that? So I was 55. I have for a good, well, I think I was like 10. So, 40 years, 50 years, I have wanted to journal every day and I could never do it. I would get my journal, like at the beginning of the year, I would journal, and then it would just be sporadic and sometimes not even. But I made a commitment in August of 2019 that I wanted to journal every day. So I started the Tiny Habits. I would just write like just a couple lines in a journal, just a blank journal. And then I found a journal that kind of had some prompts. It was called Evo. It's EVO. And it was really cool because it would say, what did you feel happy about today? Just some high points. What was your to-dos? It was really easy. So there was lots of prompts in it. And that was good for me. So every day I would just write something. And it would kind of frustrate me to do Tiny Habits because I would see a blank page and I hate blank pages. But I'm just like, I'm just going to do this. And now in 2024, not a day goes by that I don't journal. So now I have like a journal, like this is, oh, you can't really see because I have this on. Let's see if I can get it in front of me. Oh, there we go. So that's one page. And you can see, I just kind of list like my to-dos and what I'm grateful for. And then on the next page, I'm doing like, this is my, I do a Course in Miracles, like to write about it in the morning. And that was another thing too. I did Course in Miracles. But when you complete it, you're like, in this journal, this is called the Impact Planner, but there's a lot of journals out there right now. And I encourage you to get one that says, list the things you're grateful for. List 3 things you're grateful for before you go to bed and before you wake up in the morning, like when you wake up and start your day. Writing down what you're grateful for changes your entire day. So that's just like a little tidbit. But journaling was something that I never could do. And now I literally 5 years in, or 4.5 years, I have journaled every single day and I feel really good about it. And when I look back, I go, wow, I was able to achieve something I couldn't achieve for 50 years, but I did it because I started small. And it's really been life-changing for me. I mean, now I don't know what to do with all my old journals. I have just stacks and stacks and stacks, but it's kind of cool just to pick up and go, where was my head? Like when I had COVID in 2020 and I was so sick, there were days and I was still journaling. I'm so proud of myself. Even so sick, I could barely think. And I just scribbled on my journal, I am in pain, and then just scribbled. And that's all I wrote because that's all I could write. But I did it. I kept it up every single day and I could see my progress because as I started to get better, I would write more. And so it was kind of a cool way for me to look at my journey with COVID through my journals. So if there's something out there that you want, something that you've always desired, then start small. And I'm going to give you, when I send out the recap on Friday, I'm going to give you a link to a goal setting workbook that I created last year. And it's going to talk about a lot of this. And I'll add some more new stuff too, but it talks a lot about how to set a goal and get, to write down your why. So it's got little places in there for you to write your why you want to achieve this goal. And then it just talks about some of the things we're going to talk about today. So I'll give that to all of you. If you want to use it, great. If not, no big deal. But it's just kind of a good place to start, and it'll give you some ideas. So I want to open it up to all of you, and let's talk about our goals and maybe why you have a hard time achieving them. And let's kind of workshop it and give you ways that you can achieve your goals. I'm really lucky. I've been in tons and tons of masterminds, and I have a personal coach, and I have a coaching, we call them pods, but it's like a mastermind, but it's mini. So we talk about all this stuff all the time. So I have a lot of information, not necessarily that I use all the time, but I do have a lot of information. So if you want to talk about a goal, I would love for us to workshop it, because it would also help everyone else. So you can either raise your hand, or you can unmute yourself and talk, but just go ahead and I'll call on whoever. Yeah, Liza Carroll. Yes. Hey, Liza, welcome.
Hi, this is my first time here. I'm so excited. Thanks for
welcome.
Thank you. And I'll have to change my name to Liza Carroll. So I'm not used to ever having another Liza. Hi, the other one. So there's something I've been trying to do for ages, but really in a very focused way for the last week or so, and I can't do it. I did it once, I think. I just want to stop eating at 7. Like, it doesn't sound like a lot, right? But
right.
I think there's so much behind it.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's the one thing where my willpower, I get very tired at night in the evening, and my willpower is just shot. And I'm like a different person. I mean, I think totally differently. So all of my great ideas in the morning are gone. So I know that it would be, ideally, it would be a stepping stone to be able to actually be doing intermittent fasting and things like that. And there's immunity benefits, there's sleep benefits to not eating after a certain hour. There's weight loss. There's it would be a freedom from whatever this emotional drive to do it is.
Yeah.
And I think there's deep old fears, probably other lifetime fears that I have about not eating or weight loss. I think there's a lot under there.
You're tired, so you are like, oh, I'm just going to eat. And so here's an interesting thing. I'm so glad you brought this up, because there's a thing called open loops. And so it's a little bit different. Like, when we have open loops, that's things that we have that are on our to-do list that aren't important, like you eating before 7. So it's an open loop. It's something that bothers you, but it's not something that consciously bothers you. It's just something that nags at you. And it's something that you can't do. So an open loop, when we have, like, if you look at all these open loops, like, I have a lot of things that I want to do, and they're on this long list. So one of my coaches was like, close your open loops. Do what you can to close those open loops. So for you, this eating at 7 is something that bothers you. It's something that weighs on you, but you keep doing it because you're not sure how to get to a point where you get past that. So I love that you said you had a lot of energy in the morning, like you have all these creative ideas and all these things and your desires in the morning. So that's great. So writing those down, committing them from your mind to paper is really effective. And just give yourself, like 3 things you want to do. Don't do more than 3 things ever. They say, I think Warren Buffett says it, but there's a lot of entrepreneurs that say that 3 things is all you want to ever have on your list, because you'll get a lot of urgent things done, but the important things, usually 3 is your max. So in the morning, just write down what you want your day to look like. And what does your day look like? Like, why are you eating at 7 o'clock at night?
No, what I'm eating is after 7. Like, I will literally take chips into bed like a baby, a kid,
Okay. So there's this emotional, you're tired and you're taking chips to bed. So you're eating dinner at a decent hour, but you're allowing yourself to snack.
That's the issue. It's the snacking.
Okay. So this is, you've created a habit every night after 7, you're eating something. It's like something that you want to be doing, right? Okay. So maybe what you could do is, 1, don't buy chips anymore, right? You could not buy chips so that you don't have chips in the house. You can say, okay, I can eat, but I can only eat vegetables. I can only eat fruits, right? So you can say, you can allow yourself to eat, and right, this is tiny habits. Allow yourself, don't say, okay, I can't eat at 7. That's recipe for disaster. After 7's going to come, you're going to start getting hungry, and then you're going to go for the worst possible thing that's in your house. So by eliminating the chips, that is helpful because you don't want to be eating anything that's going to be just bad for your system. So eating something like fruit, even though it raises your blood sugar, you can combat that by drinking some, some apple cider vinegar that helps your blood sugars. So if you can put fruits and vegetables on your list, something healthy, anything that's healthier than chips, and allow yourself to eat that. And then after a couple weeks, say, okay, I'm only going to allow myself to eat after 7, like 5 days a week. And so you pick the 2 days, maybe like a Wednesday and a Sunday. You don't eat after 7, and you just make a commitment to that, right? There's ways that you can start combating that eating after 7, but you can't go cold turkey, because once you've created a habit, and then what happens? I mean, we're all women here. What happens when we don't achieve our goals? We beat ourselves up. Oh, I have no willpower. Oh, I'm horrible. Oh, I just am lazy. I'm the. None of those are true. What is true is we've created a habit and tried to stop cold turkey, and that doesn't work. You don't tell an alcoholic, oh, just stop drinking. They've created a habit with alcohol. So it's the same thing with food or with a bad habit. So for you, Liza, just think about what you could eat that would be satisfying, but also healthy, and allow yourself to eat that for the next couple weeks. But also doing one other small change on your evening routine. So really look at, like, kind of look at your day. What is happening for you at 7, after 7 o'clock? You're in front of the TV, maybe you've created a habit of eating, or you said you took it to bed. So you've created a habit where your bed is like a place where you feel comfort, and you have food. So there's this whole comfort thing. So maybe saying, I'm not going to get under the covers, or whatever you're doing on your bed, like change it up a little. So like you just can sit at the edge of your bed and eat, but you can't get into your bed. You know what I mean? Make some tiny little adjustments to that. And then pretty soon you're going to go, I don't want to be in my bedroom eating, because my bed is for sleep. So right there, you're going to get a lot better sleep, because right now your bed is a place where you have more action. You're not sleeping, you're eating. So there's something going on, or maybe you work or in your bed too. I used to lay in bed and work, and that's not great for sleep either, because your body's like, well, we can work, we could eat, we could do all these things in bed, and really bed is supposed to be for sleep. So for you, just making some small adjustments is going to be key to you not eating after 7. And like you said, yes, you could do intermittent fasting. And that's a really great thing. I mean, I do it. I know a lot of people do it. It's a great thing for your body to have that rest and recovery. And what I love about fasting from, so what is it? You don't eat after 6 p.m. and you don't eat again until noon. And then that gives your body that rest. We don't give our bodies, our minds, our spirit that resting period. So if you can do that, it's kind of a good thing to start with your body. Then you can go, you know what? I'm going to take a Sunday off or whatever and just be about me. You can then start creating rest and recovery for yourself in other ways. But you say you want to do the intermittent fasting. So start small, try to get yourself not to eat at night, but don't go cold turkey. And then, reward yourself. So here's the biggest thing. This sounds so stupid and so silly. We're on social media because of dopamine. You scroll because of dopamine. You get these little rushes. When you're changing your habits, so like for you, Liza, let's say you're going to eat an apple at night instead of chips. When you eat that apple, you are going to celebrate. You are going to say, yes, I ate an apple. I am superwoman. I ate a freaking apple. I did not have chips. I'm going to bed. I'm happy. That is going to keep you on your track. You've got to celebrate it. The next morning, you celebrate, I ate an apple last night. I didn't eat chips. I am so excited, because that will give you the motivation. And that's really the secret sauce to tiny habits. You have got to celebrate your win, no matter how teeny, teeny, tiny that win is. I wrote one line in my journal. Yes, You put on music, you dance, you do whatever, you get that dopamine rush so that you look forward to doing it again. And that's what helped me with my journaling. I was like, I journal, and you do a little dance and you're like, I am so excited. And then you see your journal and it brings you joy. I'm like, yes, I look at my journal and my journals do bring me joy. So it's like something that you can do for yourself that excites you, and you're giving yourself a pat on the back instead of, oh, I still ate last night. I ate an apple. I still ate. I didn't achieve my goal. Okay, that's just negative self-talk, and that's going to get you back to chips. So, when you do something, or let's say you did grab that bag of chips, but you only ate two because you caught yourself and said, no, I don't want to do this. You celebrate that. Whatever it takes for you to stay on track, like just these teeny tiny little things, celebrate them. Because trust me, if you start now in January, changing from like, maybe you eat less chips, maybe you get a bowl of chips, right? Instead of the bag, and you just eat that bowl and that's it for you, whatever it is your tiny step is. But you think about, if you stay on track with your tiny steps from now until December 31st, December 31st is going to come and you're going to be intermittent fasting. You're going to feel better. You're going to look better. You're going to have more energy, all because you stopped eating after 7. That small little adjustment was life-changing for you. And you can see where like you get excited about, oh my gosh, if I just stop eating after 7, so much could change in my life. And I don't have to do it in a big way. I don't have to go cold turkey. I can still eat some chips to start, but I'm going to start small. And then I'm going to switch to a bowl of carrots or whatever that is. You know what I mean? You have to decide what works for you. I can't tell you, but does that make sense? Does that resonate?
That's awesome. That's a lot of stuff I wouldn't have thought of. Thank you.
You're welcome. And in the goal setting workbook, it talks about that. It talks about setting tiny goals and doing that. So,
oh, I can't wait to see it. And I have to, unfortunately, I have a commitment at 2 today, but thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to the recording.
Yay. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. That was cool. So I want to go back and look at just the comments really fast. So Liza says, yes, focusing on how we want to feel definitely helps us manifest what we want. Yes. Like feeling positive, right, Liza? And then, Ruth, did Ruth get back on? Yes, Ruth is back on. And hello, Dr. Lori. Dr. Lori is here and she has some exciting news. I'm going to have you talk at the end of the call if you don't mind, Lori. She was on a radio program yesterday, Coast to Coast, which is a big radio program. I don't know if some of you know that, but she talked about animal Reiki. So hopefully Dr. Lori will share her experience with us later. And then Kelly said, I started the no food after 7 during the summer. It was easier than I thought, but as time goes on, it is more challenging. Try a tasty herbal tea instead. That's a really good, I love that, because some of those herbal teas are almost like dessert, like the chai tea, or, and that's going to help your body. Oh, thank you so much, Kelly. That is such a great one. Or go to bed earlier with a good book. Yes. And then Lisa Moore says, my son brushes his teeth right after dinner and a small sweet, then drinks a lot of water. Yes, a lot of water will also help. That gets you full. And then Kelly's a great idea to that. And then Lisa Moore said, using the savings from chips and buy some red underwear or whatever, haha, cut that apple into very small pieces. Yes, that's really good advice. And I love that you said that, Lisa, about buying yourself some red underwear, because if you look at, and that's a really good place to start. If you look at your underwear drawer and you look at, when was the last time you bought some really nice fancy underwear? Like probably not in a really long time. Or maybe even like socks. Like, you look at your sock store. When was the last time you bought yourself some really nice, expensive, comfortable socks? And by expensive, I don't mean like, you're spending $50 or $80. It's just like, if you usually spend $3, you spend $10. It's whatever more expensive is to you. When was the last time you've done that? Do something like that for yourself, especially as we start the new year. Start with something that's going to make you feel really super good inside, that's going to make you feel good about yourself. Or maybe it's not socks or underwear, maybe it's just some little thing, but buy something. And when you look at it, you go, yeah, I deserve that. I deserve that. Because when we raise our deserve level, it's easier for us to achieve our goals, because we can stop that negative self-talk. We can turn it into positive talk. I deserve that. Denise Duffield Thomas, which is one of my favorite people to follow, and I'm in her program. It's I serve, therefore I deserve. We all serve in some way. We either serve our family, we serve in the community. I serve, therefore I deserve. And we all are deserving. We are all deserving beings. We deserve the very best in life. If you do A Course in Miracles or you do anything where it's positive reinforcement, Tony Robbins, whatever, they all tell you, you are important. You are worth it. You deserve it. And so we just have to create that more positive self-talk for ourselves. And I encourage you, as we start 2024, let's make that our goal, to always be saying something positive about ourselves every single day. I like just showing up for this session. Pat yourself on the back. Yes, I showed up. I was there. I contributed. My energy contributed to this whole meeting today. And it does. I mean, there's 20 of you. That's incredible. It's wonderful. And our energy together helps elevate the energy that's out there. And right now we need that elevation, right? So I want to open it up just to questions or comments, or if you want to share something, like, thank you so much, Lisa. And then, yes, exactly. You'll smile. So obviously Lisa is from maybe the UK. She said, you'll smile every time you go to the loo. And that's so true. You see your fancy little red underwear, or even if you buy yourself some fancy little hand towels when you go to the loo, you see your little fancy hand towels, like, yes, I deserve that. Those are pretty. Or you buy yourself, a nice plant. I deserve that. That's pretty. It makes me feel good. Whatever makes you feel good, do something like that for yourself, so that when you look at it, you're like, yes, I deserve that. I deserve that. Because our deserve level has a lot to do with whether or not we're going to allow ourselves to achieve our goals. And then, you know what, Ruth, I used to do a vision board, and I stopped doing a vision board because I would get bummed when I would see my vision board and I didn't achieve any of the things that were on my vision board, because there's a system to the vision board. You have to look at your vision board every day. It's just like goals, right? So your vision board is your goals. If you're going to do a vision board, then you need to look at that vision board every day and say, how am I going to get these things? What can I do today to get me closer to achieving this? And, a vision board, I have a really good friend. He was in one of my masterminds, and his name is Ovi, and he's in London. And he showed me one time, he was sitting in his office in his house that he bought in London. And on his vision board was a backyard of a house that he wanted to buy. He hadn't bought his house in London yet. He had a picture of like a couple being intimate, like in a bed or something. He didn't have a mate. It had a couple other things I can't remember, but he had done the vision board 4 years before. So we're always taught do a vision board every year, but really I liked his method of just having that same vision board. So you're not getting scattered, right? You're staying focused on what it is that you truly desire. So for your vision board, put what you truly, truly desire, and then look at it every day. So what happened with Ovi was 4 years after he created that vision board, and he always kept it in his office and he looked at it every day, he found this wonderful woman that he met in a salsa dancing class, because he said, I used to like to go salsa dancing. And he said, so I thought, I'm going to go salsa dancing. And he met this wonderful woman. It's 2 years later and they're still together. He showed me a picture of his vision board backyard, and it was green grass and had like a little shed. He panned his camera to his backyard. It was like you took a picture of his backyard and put it on the vision board. It was eerie. I still get chills thinking about it. He put that backyard on his vision board, and 4 years later, he got the house in London, and the backyard looked exactly like that. And then he had a couple other things. It took him 4 years, but he got them. So when you're setting your goals, don't do this arbitrary deadline of a year. Do your year as a way to check in, but I also encourage you, do quarters as a way to check in. Don't wait till the end of the year. Every quarter, right? Check in with yourself. So you're going to start something now. Check in with yourself on March 31st. Put it on your calendar. Where am I with my goals? And then look at it and say, well, what am I doing that's sabotaging my goals? What can I do that could actually help me achieve my goals? And if you're looking at it every quarter, you're more likely to stay on track, as opposed to, I'm going to start my goals now, and then December 31st, I'll look and see if I achieved them. Well, that's not really realistic. And that's not how you would plan anything. If you were planning a project, you wouldn't go, okay, we're going to check in January and we'll check in when the project's due. No, you check in, you have check-in time. So maybe it's every month for you, maybe it's every couple weeks, or maybe it's every quarter, whatever works for you. Maybe like do a quarter. And if you're finding, wow, I let too much slide that first quarter, I need to be checking in with myself every couple weeks, or whatever that is for you, whatever that formula is for you, because we're all different. We're all individuals. What works for me might not work for you, but just set a timeline where you're checking in, you're looking at your vision board, if that's what you choose to do, or you're looking at your goal. How am I going to achieve this goal? Whatever it is that you want to achieve, you can achieve it, but you also have to be checking in with yourself to achieve that. And when you check in with yourself, look back at what you did do. So if, like, for Liza, when she was talking about she didn't want to eat after 7 o'clock, let's say she did cheat, but for the most part, maybe she got like a third of the days, a month full of days, she was able not to eat after 7. Will you look back and you celebrate that? Because that's called the gap and the gain. So a lot of times we look back and we're like, oh, I didn't achieve anything. And we're not looking at all the things we did achieve. We're looking at, I really wanted this to happen, but it didn't. So we look at the gap. But you need to focus on the gain, and the gain will help you to be encouraged to go forward with your goals. So if you look back at last year and you say, wow, that was a really crappy year, but I did this, 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 and this, that's big, right? And yeah, Lisa Moore says, have a goal buddy, just like in AA, you get a buddy, right? So that's called an accountability buddy. So an accountability buddy, let's say, Kelly's my accountability buddy. I could once a week or even every day text her and say, hey, this is my goal for today, is to get this thing done. And then, or these 3 things done. And then I can either check in with her at night and say, hey, got 1 done, or got none done, or whatever that is. You can do that kind of, or you could do a week, or you could do a month. But having that somebody that you share your dreams and goals with is really, really effective. In fact, that's what we did in my masterminds. You had to have an accountability person every single day. What I didn't like about the accountability every single day is that sometimes what would happen is, if you have a hard week and there's just things that are getting in the way of you achieving what you are setting your mind to do, you start to feel frustrated, and you start to feel like, oh, I'm not getting anything. And you start to put a lot of pressure on yourself. So checking in once a week, it was better, because then it was like, yeah, exactly. No judgment, Lisa. Checking in once a week was better, because it was like, you check in, this is my goal for next week. And this was, and this is how I did on my goals for this past week. Yeah, the time frame is really realistic. Yeah, you have to, because every day also, it's almost like a naggy kind of thing. I know that some people in my mastermind loved it, but me personally, I didn't. So just choose what works for you, and choose a person in your life that will be accountable with you. Do not pick that friend that's like kind of whatever, or I mean, they're a good friend, but maybe they just are too busy to be checking in and sharing their goals too. You want to pick somebody who wants to create change in their life just like you do, and they're willing to make that commitment. And so find that person, check in once a week. Once a month is probably a little too long, so once a week is kind of ideal. Once a day might be a little bit too much, but so there's some more information, but let's open it up and talk more about what your challenges might be and how we all can help. And let's see where we are. Oh, it's 11:11 here. Yay. Magical time. Yeah. Gretchen, hello.
Yeah, hi. I was going to say, I have trouble sometimes with being consistent with my meditation.
Mhm.
So what I do every morning at 8:15 is I have 2 friends and we Zoom and we do a 10-minute guided meditation to start our day. And it's just a way to start into a longer meditation, which I do. And it's just a great way and it's a connection. It's a
Yes.
great connection and
Yes.
accountability for meditating. So,
Yes. I
yeah.
love that. That is so great. Thank you so much for sharing that,
Yeah,
because,
you bet.
I think that that's a really great goal for all of us, is, we're all here because of animals. We all want to help animals, and we know how powerful when we get into a meditative state it is for animals. So like for you, Gretchen, I think that's so incredible. You have your Zoom call, you have a certain time, it's setting your day up too, and then you feel like you've accomplished something. Even if you don't do your longer meditation, you've at least done the shorter one, which then helps you feel like, you feel accountable, you feel successful because you did it, and you probably feel better because you've meditated.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Right.
thank you.
Yes, I love that so much. Thank you for sharing that. And then let's see. T said the 12-step programs can be applied to anything you want to accomplish without going to a counselor. That is very true. And you can look up the 12-step program on the internet. There's all kinds of resources out there for you about the 12-step program, because you're exactly right. And it talks about accountability and not beating yourself up too. So I love that. And then Lisa says, I think I have the opposite meditation addiction. And so Lisa, I'm assuming, and you can unmute yourself if you want, I'm assuming you mean that you meditate more, or you don't need to be encouraged to meditate. And then Kelly says, my meditation partner and I text every day after meditation. It works great, short and simple. I love that, Kelly. Do you want to unmute and talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I have a friend that lives in California that I've been meditating with for years. We met on the East Coast, but so we get on Zoom once a week and do a meditation time and catch up. But every morning after we finish our meditations, we text each other, and we don't have to reply back, but it's just our way of being accountable. We can elaborate or not. And like this morning, I was like, it was kind of lame. And she's like, you showed up. So, that's, it's really good to have somebody supporting me, but also just knowing we have the same goal of daily meditation and making sure and it gives me more of a, it keeps me more on track and wanting to make sure that I show up.
See, and I love that. I'm glad you shared that, because the way you're sharing this, you picked someone who has the same goal and desire as you. And that's so important. And that's why it works, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because she's just as committed as you are to this.
Right.
And I love that. Yeah, no. And that's like for any goal you have, if it's weight loss. Lisa says she does a lot of meditation. That's wonderful. But I think any goal, like if you have a weight loss goal, find somebody who also has a weight loss goal. If you have a goal to write, find somebody else who has something like that as well. And so let's just look at the chat really fast. Liza says, a 5-year question a day memory journal. Oh, beautiful journals help too. Yeah. So that's like, there's a lot of journals out there, but find the one that resonates with you, because, and you'll change too. You might change your journals. I know I changed my journal. I don't like the flowy creative ones, just because I'm more right brain and I like the more corporate business type. But then, find what works for you. Like, I don't want to suggest using my journal, because my journal probably isn't the journal that most of you would be using. You would be using something a lot more flowy and creative, like the 5-year question a day one, or just something, that's really pretty that's out there. I think there's one, Tree of Life has one. Kelly, don't you have a really pretty one? Is that Tree of Life? Yeah.
I had a really pretty one from Tree of Life. It was so much pressure. I was just going to type that out. It was so much pressure. I got something really simple this year.
Yeah.
Because it just felt like, oh, I'm not even keeping up with my journal now, or my, because it's journaling, planning, all these, creating habits and everything. And I'm like, I'm not even keeping up with that. It's such pressure. I was like, forget it. So I went to something simpler. It was beautiful though. I think it was somebody like you who's like more organized and on task, it would be perfect.
I think you're bringing up a really good point about the journal, is that you have to pick something that's doable. So I agree with you. There's journals out there that have all these prompts, and then you feel like a failure if you're not filling out all the prompts.
That's tragic.
Like, why would you do that? That's like self-sabotage,
So it's like a whole week. I didn't even look at it this week. I didn't even open it this week.
Exactly. Just
start for me.
Get one of those little ones where it's just a little bit a day, and you just write something. I had a day. My day was challenging. Whatever that is, start small, because I agree 100% with you. Like the Tree of Life one, when I was looking at it, style is so individual. Thank you, Marilyn. it's really personal. Your journal is a personal thing, and you don't want to set yourself up for failure. And I love that you share that, Kelly, because that is so true. That's like some of these journals, you're like, it's too much,
Yeah.
or it's not enough.
I gave up.
Like my ego one, there wasn't enough space for me to write. So I needed to find one that, kind of helped me in that space. But yeah, no,
I just got a separate journal. They have such nice ones that are lined at TJ's, so
yeah,
and the Tree of Life's are very expensive too. So I
Yeah.
just felt like I'm wasting money and I'm not using
Right.
it, the way it's meant to be used, and it's too much pressure.
Yeah. So, I mean, you've got to do what works for you. And that just kind of helps me segue into how much time do we have left? Okay, perfect. Segue into our animal Reiki practice and why goal setting and all of this is important to our animal Reiki practice. So if you are finding that you aren't meditating daily, and you need to be meditating daily in order to be effective with the animals. The only way you're going to get good and you're going to have these really great responses is if you are practicing your meditation. Does not mean you have to sit and meditate for 30 minutes a day. That's not what that means. But you should be incorporating at least 5 minutes a day. And again, you don't even have to sit for 5 minutes. You can wake up in the morning and do self-healing for a couple of minutes. You can do the precepts, which I always do. I mean, it's a wonderful way to wake up, or you just say the all is well mantra before you go to bed. Do the self-healing again. That's something easy. You're in bed. Why not? Just give yourself some comfort. You'll fall asleep. That's a meditation. When you're washing dishes or you're vacuuming, allow yourself to focus on your breath. That's a meditation. Just be really focused and mindful on the vacuuming. Don't be thinking about, oh, I got to do all these things. Da, 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 da. Just allow yourself to be present with the vacuuming. There are so many different ways. You're on a walk with the dog, or like Mary Lynn, you're at the shelter, just focusing on where you are and focusing on your breath and calming your body. That is all a meditation. And that's going to help you feel more in alignment with your practice. If you're really doing these little tiny steps of meditating, it's going to help you be more in alignment when you go to sit with an animal. Because even if you're like, oh God, I'm not used to sitting for so long, that's okay. Because you're going to sit and you're going to focus on your breath. You're going to ask the animal for help. And anytime your mind wanders, you're just going to bring yourself back with either the all is well mantra or the precepts. But you're going to start building on it. And as soon as you're sitting with an animal for 30 minutes and you see how they react to that, that encourages you to start building on your meditative practice. So don't feel like you have to start meditating for 30 minutes a day. You don't. Another thing I want to talk about is it's really hard to find the courage and the strength to go talk to a shelter if you aren't in one, or any type of place. Like, let's say you don't necessarily want to go to shelter. Maybe you want to go to a zoo, or you want to go to wherever they have animals, a groomer, a vet, whatever that is, and you don't feel courage. It's okay to hear no. It's okay to hear, I don't think so, or whatever it is. Go get the courage. Just tell yourself, it's like jumping into the cold pool. Just plug your nose and do it. Because once you do it once and you get your first no, you're like, okay, well, that wasn't bad. I didn't die. Like, what's the worst thing that could possibly happen to you? You will die. Okay, that's not going to happen. So you approach a shelter, you get a no, or you get just like, oh, I'm just so irritated. And you think, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. It's not you, it's them. So you don't have to worry about it. A no to you is just them coming from their own perspective. I don't like it. Even though we know what we have to share is really great and awesome, it's okay to get a no. In fact, it's good to get a no, because once you get a no, oh, that's not the right place for me, one. And number two, okay, I've done it. I've heard my no. I can go get another no. No's are good because no's keep us going. They keep us going forward. They keep us, okay, this isn't the right place. There's a better place for me. So let's say you find the perfect place and they're like, maybe. A maybe is a yes. A maybe is not a no. A maybe is a yes. So then you can decide, okay, maybe I'm going to go volunteer there. Maybe I'm going to do whatever, but you leave them books. You keep coming with them. You bring them, like Kelly says, I love this. This is such a great hack for getting people to love you. And this is the same for animals. Bring them food, bring them gifts. Oh, I made some cupcakes. I just, I'm the Reiki lady, right? And I'm going to bring this to you. And it's all about compassion. And, oh, I'd love to do some chair treatments. If you guys have an appreciation day or something, I would love to come in and show you what Reiki is and what the animals will feel, So there's ways that you can do this, but I encourage you, just plug your nose, jump, do it, get out there, because once you do it once, you're going to have the courage. And don't forget, even if you get your no, celebrate. We got to celebrate. We got to dance. We got to play music in the car. We go, I got to know. That's okay. It wasn't the right place for me. And then, and you go back and you look at your letter, you look at your presentation materials and go, you know what? I can improve this. And then you keep improving, you keep going out there. But again, tiny steps, tiny habits, but do it. Think about it every day. Every day, what could I do? And make it a big, audacious goal. Like I was telling Kathleen that we need to create presentation materials for zoos. That's a big, audacious goal. So we're going to have to work on it. And it's not, and Kathleen was so funny. She's like, oh my gosh, I just don't have time to go present to a zoo. I'm like, you and I aren't going to be presenting to the zoos. We have a huge community of people. They will go present to the zoos and we'll see if our materials work. But we are going to set a big, audacious goal to get a zoo to agree to allow animal Reiki. That is our big, audacious goal. So when we set that big, audacious goal, we look and say, okay, do I know anyone at zoos? What would a zoo want to hear? Do I know people who work at zoos? Do I know, let me look at my LinkedIn contacts. Is there anyone that can put me in contact with a zoo? And then you start looking at ways to, just like your creative mind starts to expand when you have an audacious goal, because it's much easier for me to get creative with me going to present to a zoo as it would be for me to go and present to, like, let's say a local little rescue where I know she's going to say yes. I mean, that's like, okay, I can achieve that goal, but it really doesn't fill me with kind of motivation and creativity like I want to be. So having that big, audacious goal that we are going to present something for zoos, that's big. And so that's going to encourage me this year to work on this all the time, to be thinking about it, to be like putting it out there to the universe. This is what we want. And then Kelly says, we can learn from a no. Absolutely. A no is not the end of the world. In fact, I shared this in some other calls about my one student who wanted to go to this horse rescue. It was an hour from her home. It wasn't that convenient, but she really liked them. And they were rude to her. And she was really upset. But then she ended up going to talking to a friend and going to a local shelter that she loves. So that no helped her to redirect, to get to where she needed to be. So a no is just like, that's like you've got GPS in your car and you decide to go off track over here, and then the GPS goes, no, get back on the road. And so a no is just a no. Just get back on your path. Don't put any more energy. And so we don't want to sit there and go into that shame spiral when we get a no. We want to celebrate the no. And that's so important, because shame spirals, hello, we're all doing those. We're women, right? Shame spiral is what we grew up on. So just doing that. But let's see. And then Ruth said, there is a beautiful day book by Mary Davis called Everyday Shift, and she has a wonderful journal. Oh, love that. So some of you might want to write down Mary Davis and Everyday Spirit. So we're getting to the end of the call, and I just want to, because we're going to do a really quick meditation, I want Lori to share a little bit about her interview that she had with Coast to Coast, because that's very exciting. And then we can talk to her a little bit about maybe how she got on that show, because that's encouraging for us too. And that maybe might be your goal, to get on podcasts this year. But what I want to kind of wrap this up with, I will give you the goal setting workbook just to kind of help guide you, but also just know that you deserve the best possible life. And then, yes, Anne says no could be a redirection. Absolutely. And no's are important, because the universe is helping to guide us with no's. The universe is working in our favor. So if we get all caught up in, I heard a no, I heard the, then it's not the right place. Like I know Darlene just went through this. She, when you're looking for a job and you're getting no's or you're not getting responses, but now she got a job and hopefully it's the perfect job for her and she's excited and she starts tomorrow. So, like all of those no's, all of those, delays and everything got her, they were uncomfortable and they're not fun, but they got her to get the job that's probably the best job for her. So just remember that. And when we're setting goals, remember small, and I talk about this in the workbook. And of course, we'll talk about this in the recap, just small goals. And we'll talk more next week about presenting to a shelter, because I want to talk a little bit more about that handout that I created, and also about different ways that we can get yeses from them. And hopefully Kelly will come next week and she can also give her opinions, because she's gone to a lot of different shelters. I think Kelly had 6 shelters at one time. So, and then also, I want to talk about us getting into the shelter and sharing a program with them that is based on meditation. We don't have to teach level 1 animal Reiki. Nobody has time for that, but we can teach a very short 1 hour, 1.5 hour meditation course to the volunteers to get them to start checking in with their energy when they're working with animals. And that could be huge. So we're going to talk about a lot over the next couple of weeks about presenting, about going to the shelter, and what you can offer the shelter that might be accepted. So I want to open it up to Lori really fast, if she's still on. Dr. Lori. Oh, she walked away. So I don't know. But anyway, so why don't we do, since Dr. Lori walked away, oh, here she comes. Here she comes. There she is. Hi, Dr. Lori. Congratulations on being on Coast to Coast. Hello.
Thank you.
How did it
Hi,
go?
hi. Great
Hi.
to see you. Thank you. It went very well. One of my goals has been for the last couple of years to start a separate website for animal Reiki, and I've been doing animal Reiki. I think I first started really in 2010, 2011. That first training that you had at CARE. And I talked about it. I actually talked about CARE, and I talked about your work and Kathleen's work on the interview. If anybody subscribes to Coast, you can hear the replay. Unfortunately, I have no way of getting a recording, but I think it's very inexpensive to sign up. And,
Yeah, I think it was $50.
The shows.
It was $50 for the year, and it was $7 for the month. So I was just going to do $7 for the month, and as long as you can cancel, and I think you can. I think
Yes, you can cancel. Yeah. So George, I mean, I've been on Coast to Coast many times for the last over 15 years. I actually one of my goals when I was reissuing my first book, which was a bestseller, was to be a guest on Coast to Coast. And I was a guest on Coast to Coast twice, and the book became an online bestseller twice. So Coast to Coast used to have 3 to, I think, 4 million listeners. I think their listenership has gone down because there are so many podcasts now, but they still, it is still probably the leading overnight call-in show in the country. It's a paranormal show. And George Nuri wanted to focus exclusively on animal Reiki last night, which is very exciting. I did fulfill my goal. I did manage to work with the designer and launch my website, animalreikiplanet.com.
And it's a gorgeous little website, Lori, I want to say. And Lori, I was really excited. Lori used Kathleen's video, the little video with the woman with heart and how she's sharing her heart energy. And I love that because, that's a video that if you have a website and you have Animal Reiki on it, it would be great if we all had that on there, because it shows that unification. Right. And I love that. And don't you think, and I'm sure you do because you have it on there, it just perfectly explains what we do.
Exactly. It explains it so much better than anything I could say. And at one point, George Nuri asked me, what is animal Reiki? I said, well, I can explain it to you, but if you go to the website and you watch the video on the website, explains it so much better than I could possibly do in words. And I spoke about the first experience I had with Makoto at CARE, where he was wheezing, and I sat with him, and he started to breathe normally, and then he rolled over on his back and he was purring, and how it was absolutely it was life-changing for me. And I've continued, I've taken many courses with Kathleen, and I'll be working with her mentorship program over the next year. I do actually have a woman who is in my long COVID support group that I run, and she works at the Bronx Zoo in New York. So I'd be very interested in any materials that you
Yes,
come up with the zoos, because
absolutely.
I've
And
been
maybe
wanting
she,
to reach out to her.
yeah, I was going to say that might be a really good resource for us when we're creating it, for her to look at it and give us
Well,
some input.
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what. So see everyone, you put it out there, you share your dream, you share your goal, and that's really important because guess what? Like here, Dr. Lori, she has a contact. So that's magical. I love that so much.
Yeah, and I think she'll be very receptive. And I mean, also she understands the politics of the zoo, which is always very important. One of my goals has been to begin to work with a refuge here where I am in South Florida. And the young man who is my cat sitter was recently hired to work for a private cat refuge. And I sent him the link to my website, and they're going to call me in the next week or so and talk to me and see if I can work there as a volunteer a couple of days a week. So you know,
Oh,
it's
oh my
all
God.
moving. Yeah, it's all moving,
So
which is great.
excited for you, Dr. Lori. Yay. We
Thank
can
you.
all celebrate that. Well,
Yeah.
and so if you do have a subscription to Coast, or you want to spend $7 to hear that, I'm gonna definitely do that. I went on this morning to see if I could listen to it for free, and bummer. But so thank you so much, Dr. Lori, for sharing. That's a really exciting way to end. And we will do a short little meditation now.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I love our community so much. We just have so much to share. And you can tell every time someone makes a comment or shares, we all grow and expand. And I love that so much. So we're going to get really comfortable.
Oh, I had one more thing,
course.
which is soul collage. I'm a soul collage facilitator,
Soul
and
collage is
soul
another good thing.
collage is amazing in terms of connecting with power animals, animal guides, animal spirits, and animals who represent parts of ourselves. We call them companions, and also members of our higher council. So if anybody is interested, or if any point you wanted to do a soul collage session for the group, I'd be very happy.
I think
To
that would be amazing. And I think it would be really amazing for you to do that for SARA at one of our member meetings. I think
I'd love that. Sure.
oh my God, I had the funniest experience with soul collage. I picked the most, because they say you just grab the picture. You don't think about it. You just grab the picture. And I'll have to find it and share my soul collage. Oh my God, it's so funny. It's so dark. It's so me. There's like this little mummified monkey on it, and there's a white horse, and there's a lion, and these are just things I just grabbed. I was like, because the instructor was like, just grab it, and I was like, oh, this is a mummified monkey. But everything made sense when it all came together, and I was like, oh my God.
Your intuition speaks to you through the card.
Yeah.
And you get incredible insight and wisdom, because the symbols on the card are like symbols in the dream. And when you make the card, you go into a kind of creative state of meditation and trance, and you allow the card to take its form. And then at that point, you dialogue with the images, and they speak to you. And so your animals who are on your card will speak to you. And it's really, to me, it's been life-changing to be able to do this and share it with people.
Well, yeah, I think everybody would love to do soul collage. So yeah, so maybe later going into maybe in the next month or so, I'll connect with you and we'll figure out, we'll have to prepare. We have to have people prepare, get magic.
Yeah, people have to get they have to get a soul collage starter kit or index cards and materials, but it's easy.
Perfect.
And inexpensive.
Well, thank you, Dr. Lori. Okay, so we should do our meditation now. So I'm going to mute everyone, and we're just going to do a short little one today, but hopefully it will help you get started. And yes, Kelly, great news. All right, so let's just make sure we're nice and straight in our spine. We bring our hands into Gasho, and we set our intent that we're open to receive whatever it is that we need most at this moment in time. We set our intent that we are here to hold space for all sentient beings. Whenever you're ready, you can bring your hands face up or face down on your lap, and let's close our eyes so that we block all outside distractions. And just focusing on our breath, pulling our breath in through our nose, down deep into our belly, expanding our belly, And then slowly releasing our breath out our mouth. And just focus on that deep breathing for 3 more breaths. Make sure to expand your belly and then slowly breathing out your mouth. And with your out breath, you release all tension you're holding on to in your body. You release all tightness in your shoulders. Your jaw softens and relaxes. And we're going to do the joyful meditation. So I want you to take a moment and think about something that brings you immense joy. It could be a place like the beach or the forest. It could be an animal that you love dearly. It could be a person. Anything that brings you immense joy to your heart. And allow that joy and that love to fill your heart. And as you breathe in and out, feel that joy coursing through your entire body, filling you with love, happiness. Allow yourself to smile in this beautiful, joyful space. And focus on that feeling of pure love, excitement. You deserve love. You deserve joy. You deserve happiness. As we sit in this beautiful space, we remind ourselves that we are deserving of all that is good and that the universe is always conspiring to help us achieve what we want most. The universe is always offering us gifts because we deserve. In this space, allow yourself to be open to receive. Allow yourself to be open to receive all the gifts the universe has to give you. And know deep at your core that you deserve. You deserve to receive. You deserve happiness. You deserve love, and you deserve joy. And when you feel joyful and loved, you radiate it out to the world, and it is radiated back to you. Allow yourself to just sit for a moment in this beautiful space of love. Allow yourself to just melt into that feeling that you deserve this. And you are ready to share your love and light with the world. So we bring our hands into Gasho, and we give thanks for this beautiful space we created. We give thanks to ourselves for showing up and opening our hearts, and for mirroring this beautiful energy of love to each other and to the rest of the world. And so we open our eyes, and I thank each and every one of you for today. And I hope that you got a lot of inspiration to go out and start achieving your goals, no matter how impossible they seem. And remember, impossible goals are really good goals to have because they encourage you to think outside the box. They encourage you to think big. And like what we experienced right now with Dr. Lori, once you start sharing your big impossible goal with people who support you, then you start getting feedback. Oh, I can help with that. I can do that. So I'm going to shut off the recording. Well, actually, I'm not going to shut off the recording. Really quickly before we go, I'm going to tell you about, there was a talk, and I can't remember the lady's name, but she was talking about how when we put what we want out there, when we say what we want to the world, how the world will respond. So she said, for instance, somebody give me a problem, and a woman raised her hand and said, I haven't had a vacation in years. I would love to have a vacation. So another woman raised her hand and said, I have a 10-day cruise that I can't use. I will give that to you. And so it was like, oh my gosh, wow. And then the woman said, I would love to take that, but I have a daughter who is in a wheelchair. I have to take care of her. I have nobody to care for her. A nurse in the back raised her hand and says, I have to fill hours volunteer hours. So I will come and help take care of your daughter while you go on the cruise. And then she said, oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. This is amazing. But my daughter is in this situation because she has an abusive ex and he stalks her, and I'm really scared to leave her alone. And a voice in the back said, I'm a police officer. What's his name? So it just goes to show you that when we put what we want out to the world responds. We deserve what we get, right? So we deserve, if we think we're not deserving of good things, guess what? Crappy things keep happening to us. But when we put it out there, I deserve the best. I'm getting the best. Thank you. Thank you. I find a nickel. Thank you so much, God. Yes, I got a nickel, right? Just be grateful. That changes everything. And so I just love that what happened with Dr. Lori. It's such a perfect example of that, what we just experienced. So share your goals, share them with people who support you. Do not share them with family who live in fear, okay? The worst thing you can possibly do is tell your family, oh, hey, I'm gonna start an animal Reiki business. What? You'll never make any money, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden you're starting to feel like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do that. Share your goals with people who love and support you. You can share your goals here, okay? So if you ever have something, hey, that could be this year, just feel free, share. I have a goal. I just want to share it. So then we can all celebrate you and encourage you and maybe give you some tips or resources. You never know. So thank you all so much for sticking it out. I know we're running late, but thank you. And happy 2024. It is going to be amazing. I promise you. It is the year of miracles. That is what I'm willing. All right. Love you all. Bye.